Yeah, I think it'll be, okay. Yeah, it's going to get loud in here, I think, but I think we'll be.
I mean, I guess we could turn these up if we need it.
No, I think it's good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
See, I wonder, okay, yes. I'm moving it to see what it sounds like.
It's push it in towards your mouth a little bit.
No, I got it. That's good.
Ready?
Your first touch war begins in 2 minutes. Michigan will be on the balls, Auburn will be on the balls, and West Virginia will be on the field.
Is it happening?
All right, friends, we want to see who in the crowd has the most Michigan spirit for today's week. Who's ready to go blue? Come on, show us that Michigan spirit.
Hello, everyone, and welcome inside the Chrysler Center on the campus of the University of Michigan. I'm Ashley Bueller, joined alongside my sister Brittany, and we've got a packed house here inside Chrysler for the final meet of the NCAA regular season, and it's going to be an exciting one. We've got the number 3 ranked Michigan Wolverines facing off against the 5th ranked Auburn Tigers and the West Virginia Mountaineers. Brittany, what do we have in store for tonight? Well, for Michigan, it's senior night. So for Natalie Wojcik, Abby Brenner, and Abby High School, this will be their final time competing in Chrysler together, and they're looking to just go out with a bang. They have had such an impact on this program, and tonight is really just about celebrating them and all they've achieved during their time here at Michigan. But I do want to point out that this team as a whole has been fantastic this season. They spent the first 8 weeks ranked number 1 in the nation, and they're going to be looking for a score of 198.4 today if they want to move up in the national rankings again. So it's a tall order, but with a team of this caliber and the energy of the crowd in here tonight, I would say anything is possible. Auburn, on the other hand, they're coming off of one of their strongest performances in program history. Last Friday, they recorded a 198.575, which tied them with Florida and Utah for the highest score in the nation this season. So that was thanks to 3 of their star athletes, freshman Sophia Groth, senior Darian Goborn, and Olympic all-around champion Suni Lee. Those 3 set the SC Suite honors last week, and Auburn is really going to be needing big performances from them today if they want to keep pace with Michigan. So ideally, the Tigers are going to be looking for anything north of a 1977 to ensure that they don't drop in the rankings. Of course, anything higher than that, the better chance they're going to have of moving up in the rankings and potentially being a number 1 seed at their regional. They're one of those teams that's kind of on the brink right now. Absolutely. And West Virginia, they're going to want to use this as an opportunity to get a good road score as well. Remember, the top 36 teams in the nation make it to regionals, and West Virginia currently sits at 33rd. So if they can replace the 195.925 road score that they're currently counting with something 196 plus, that could help their chances of retaining a top 36 ranking nationally. Today, you're going to want to keep your eyes on senior Kendra Combs and junior Abby Pearson, who have been big scorers for the Mountaineers this season. But overall, lots of exciting gymnastics going to be happening today. This is definitely the best show in town. You really can't beat having 2 of the top 5 teams in the nation here, plus the Olympic all-around champion. Obviously, Michigan, the reigning NCAA champions. This is the best place to be. So
it's all under one roof.
Yes, we're glad you guys are with us here today, and it's going to be a fun one. We're just a few minutes away from the start of the competition. Michigan will be starting on vaults, Auburn will be starting on the bars, and West Virginia will be starting on the beam. We're going to go ahead and give you the lineups. For Michigan on vaults, it'll be Raina Gugino, Natalie Wojcik, Abby High School, Naomi Morrison, Sierra Brooks, and Gabby Wilson.
Over on bars for Auburn, we have in the leadoff position Adeline Sabados, followed by Sophia Groth, Cassie Stevens, Aria Brush, Darian Goborn, and Sinisa Lee.
And then over on beam for West Virginia, we have Aggie Hondono, Abby Pearson, Rachel Hornan, Kendra Combs, Emily Holmes-Hackard, and Chloe Asper in that anchor position. And thank you to our lovely quad box. You guys won't miss any of the action. We have 3 teams competing all at the same time, but we'll keep you updated with scores, and you won't miss any of the action. And this environment here today is really a great practice for the postseason, which is right around the corner. We've got conference championships coming up next week, and then regionals and NCAAs shortly after that. So this crowd and this environment is really going to help these teams get ready for that postseason.
Yeah, not only just the size of the crowd, but having multiple teams going at one time. Typically in regular season dual competition, you have 2 teams competing, they alternate. Right now we're going to have 3 teams going at one time, and I think that does kind of help to build the energy. There's going to be a lot of noise from the fans and just really good energy overall that's going to really help them as they move into postseason.
Absolutely.
So just a couple minutes away. Actually, about 50 seconds away.
And the crowd is already getting hype. We'll give you the numbers when we get them for sure, but Michigan's looking at a attendance record tonight. I believe over 9,000 tickets sold.
Yeah, and we can already feel that energy just from before the competition even starts.
Michigan's current attendance record is 7,212, so we'll let you know for sure once the numbers come in, but the crowd is already hyped before the competition has even begun, so it's definitely going to be an exciting one here in Chrysler Center. We mentioned Michigan will be starting on vault, a very good event for them. They're ranked number 1 in the nation on that event, and 5 of the 6 gymnasts in Michigan's vault lineup are ranked in the top 10 nationally, so no big deal. You got lots of talent to work with.
Yeah, it's almost an embarrassment of riches, I would say. I mean, you don't typically see The vaults of the caliber that Michigan does, but then to have really from start to finish the entire lineup producing vaults that are capable of going 9.975, even 10. That's another fun fact about Michigan's vault lineup. Every single person in the lineup, including their exhibition performer, has a career high of 9.975 or a perfect 10. So lots to look forward to in this rotation. And then of course with Auburn starting on bars, the Olympic all-around champion, Suni Lee. She'll be in the exhibition position there, and really, really big gymnastics from her that we can expect.
Looks like we're going to get things going here on vault with Reina Gugino, the sophomore, Yurchenko 1.5. Just a step forward on that landing, but a really clean vault in the air, and a good way to get the rotation started for Michigan. You really want to get the momentum started off strong with that first vault. For Auburn on bars, we have Adeline Sabato. She has a nice routine going so far. Gearing up for the dismount here. Double layout, pretty big hop back. The judges could take probably, at least a 10th for that. Yeah,
hop.
they definitely, she over-rotated that a little bit, so the judges should take, for sure, at least a 10th for that.
But a pretty strong routine to start.
Absolutely. Fun fact about Reina Gugino, who we just saw from Michigan on vault, she's only the second gymnast in NCAA history to score a perfect 10 in the leadoff spot. The only other gymnast to do that was Grace Glenn from UCLA back in 2020. She did that on beam. Reina came in with a 9.825 for that vault to open things up for Michigan.
And now we have senior Natalie Wojcik, her final vault in Chrysler. And a pretty good one.
Yeah, Yurchenko 1.5, another one of those 10-0 start values, and just a hop forward on the landing. And a beautiful Leo for Michigan. This is a new leotard for them.
I absolutely love it.
On beam for West Virginia, we have Aggie Hondono.
And for Auburn, this is freshman Sophia Groth. She has been absolutely phenomenal this season.
Yes, has a career high on this event of 9.925. Giant full into a double tuck. Small step back on that landing, and then Abbey High School on vault. Really clean vault. Honestly, one of the best vaults being done in the NCAA as far as the form goes, the execution. It's pretty much perfect. Did have a little bit too much momentum on that landing, so the judges are going to take at least probably a 10.5 for that.
And that's the thing with those 1.5 vaults. They can be really hard to stick. You have a lot of energy and momentum going forward, and it's a blind landing, so you really got to open up and drop it in at just the right time to get that stuck landing.
And Abby has been really good at sticking that vault. We've seen her do it so many times. Actually got a perfect 10 this season, finally, long overdue. But just a little bit too much juice here today. She gets a 9.75 for that vault. Naomi Morrison is going to be up next. She's another one who's really good at sticking this vault. Cassie Stevens getting ready to go on the bars for Auburn. And a small step back, under-rotated it just a hair.
You can tell she's really going for that stick.
Yes. Cassie Stevens on bars with a ray. Pretty clean. Nice handstand there, bailed handstand right up on top of the bar. That's exactly what the judges are looking for. She's following the 9.75 from Sophia Groth. And a double layout with the stuck landing. Very nice routine.
And on beam, we have a little bit of a hold up.
Well, and the score came in for Aggie is at 9.725, so sometimes you just got to wait on those judges to get that score turned over. This is Abby Pearson.
And Sierra Brooks, again, kind of looked like she was going for that stick. A little bit short, took a step back, but still a pretty strong vault.
You know, it's hard with an event like this, senior night, and the energy from the crowd. You you have adrenaline going, especially at the beginning of the meet, but you don't want to overdo it.
Yes.
So I think they're kind of holding back maybe a little bit, and that's why we're seeing those short landings.
Abby has a nice routine going here. Finishes it off with a stuck landing. You love to see it. They're going to be happy with that one.
And then over on bars for Auburn, we have Aria Brush with a very nice Maloney. Brings it right back down to the low bar, bailed handstand. She has a career high of a 9.925 on this event. Actually did that last weekend. Finishes with a double layout and a stuck landing. Great routine.
And Gabby Wilson on vault just went following the 9.875 from Sierra Brooks. Great vault from Gabby, one of the most dynamic in Michigan's lineup, I would say. Incredible height. She keeps her legs glued together. Sometimes has trouble finding that landing, but that was probably, I would say, one of the best vaults so far that we've seen from Michigan.
Very explosive vault. And honestly, that block that you mentioned, that's really the key to vault, is you really want to get straight arms onto the table, open shoulders, and really wait for that vault to rise before you start flipping to really get that vault up in the air. And Gabby does such a great job with that.
Her score just came in, 9.9.
So in the exhibition spot for Michigan, we will have Abby Brenner. We mentioned the 9.975/10 career high train that Michigan has with their vault lineup.
That includes Abby Brenner.
Yes, she's not in the lineup, but does have a career high of 9.975 on this event. Honestly, right there, one of the best vaults she's done, especially this season.
Not so much landing-wise, but I would say her form in the air, that's something I know she's been working really hard on cleaning up. And
and the block as well sometimes comes in with a little bit of bent arms. That was a very good vault for Abby on her senior night. Over on bars, we're looking at Darian Goborn.
She got huge height on that release.
And my favorite part of this routine is the dismount. Check out the height on this dismount. So it's way up above the bar, full twisting double back, and gets the stuck landing. It's really hard not to stick it when you get that much height. She completes the twist before she comes down and gets that landing. Honestly, I'm not sure I've ever seen her not stick that dismount. She's just so good at it.
Score in for Abby Pearson from West Virginia, a 9.875. So that was a phenomenal routine.
And a great score to have towards the beginning of the lineup. Because the hope would be that they build as the meet goes on. They're going to be looking to build off of those scores as they go through the rotation.
And next up on bars, we're going to have Suni Lee. We mentioned her off the top, the 2021, or I guess 2020 Olympic all-around champion, and has done so much for the sport of college gymnastics already. She brings an incredible amount of difficulty. You'll see her right from this bar routine, and she's done a few different variations of this routine, so we're curious to see what she's going to do today.
Yeah, she has so many skills in her arsenal that she can choose from, and when you're as talented as her, you know, you really can just go out there and decide, what do I want to do today?
Do I want to go for the Nabieva? Do I not?
Right.
You know, not many people have the plethora of skills to choose from.
Yeah, she does it because she can, so we'd love to see it. And I'm interested to see if she's going to connect everything, because I was watching in the warm-up. I believe one time she did connect all of these skills together, and then one of the times she didn't. So we're going to see right here, right now, Nabieva is a laid out to Kachev, right down to the low bar, Pac Salto, goes for the Van Leeuwen. Beautiful. So impressive and so difficult to not only do those skills, but to connect them. And then a stuck landing. Oh, that's going to be a big score.
That looked pretty perfect, I have to say.
Her teammates are calling for the 10. We'll have to see what the judges do. She's following the 9.925 from Darian Goborn. So she's set up for a big score, and she delivers with an excellent routine. We would expect nothing less. She is an Olympic bronze medalist on this event as well, so
yes,
lots of talent.
Well, and the thing with Suni is, you know, at the elite level, you get rewarded for going for the difficulty and going for those connections. You don't get that in college. So she doesn't have to do the difficulty, but we appreciate the fact that she does. And her score is in a 9.975. So one of the judges thought it was perfect. The other one found half 10. Those judges, they always find something.
We never agree with the judges these days.
But a phenomenal routine. And again, the scoring on beam seems to be kind of slow. We're seeing a lot of long pauses here.
Yep. And it looks like the score for Rachel Hornan is in a 9.175. Kendra Combs will be up next. And Kendra, of course, is a senior and has done great things for the West Virginia program. Hoping to see her in the all-around today.
And Auburn is having an exhibition routine. Unfortunately, had a foul, but exhibition routines, the scores don't count, so it's no worries. They will not have to worry about counting that score. Just out there to gain experience and add some depth to their lineup.
Kendra on beam, front aerial to back tuck. Slight bobble there. And a little bit hesitant on the full turn as well. She has a career high on this event of a 9.875. And West Virginia is really going to want a score like that right now so they can drop that 1.925 from Rachel. Front toss to beat jump. Pretty nicely done. You know, it's so much pressure to go up on the beam after you've had a fall. So I don't envy her position here at all. And a front fall off the end of the beam, small hop forward on that landing. But, you know, she kept it together, and that's what's really important. She wants to kind of keep that momentum going for her team and be able to drop that 9.125. So that's something that she and the team are going to be very, very happy with.
Yeah, she handled herself very well under that amount of pressure. So now Michigan and Auburn are done, leaving us just with West Virginia on beam, which is nice. We can focus on them, and it can be a lot with the three teams going at once.
Absolutely. The event totals for Michigan on vault, we got a 49.35, and then for Auburn on bars, a 49.375. So Auburn is going to have a slight lead over Michigan after one, just a quarter tenth. It's going to be a good one. We knew it right from the start that this is going to be a very good competition. Auburn is having a phenomenal season, and obviously Michigan is too, but Auburn, I would say, is having one of their best seasons in program history.
Absolutely, and I think that has a lot to do with their freshman class. I mean, we've talked a lot about Suni Lee, and she tends to get a lot of the attention across the country, but they have other freshmen in that class as well. Sophia Groth, Sarah Hubbard, who are absolutely phenomenal, and the entire team has really stepped it up this season. Senior Darian Goborn,
Yep.
Drew Watson, a super senior, just so much talent on this team, and I think they all deserve credit and recognition for getting Auburn to where they're at this point in the season.
Absolutely. So over on beam for West Virginia, we have Emily Holmes-Hackard. The score for Kendra Combs in is a 9.8.
So they're back on track.
Cat leap to front aerial to back tuck. A little bit slow on that connection. Oh, and an excellent save right there. Full turn, very nicely done. Should just have the dismount left. It's a gainer layout full off the side of the beam. Small hop on that landing, but hey, I was really impressed to see how she was able to save that fall, and that's really, really big because, you know, we already mentioned they have the 9.125 from Hornan that they're looking to drop, so yes, it's going to be a pretty significant deduction. I would say at least 3/10 probably for that bobble, but it's better than a fall.
Yeah, the most important thing is that she stayed on. Sometimes in the end, it can come down to a couple of tenths, so you got to fight through.
I mean, absolutely. Look how close it is between Michigan and Auburn just after the first rotation. It's not over until it's over in gymnastics. So West Virginia is going to have an exhibition routine once that score comes in. My apologies, we're still waiting on Chloe Asper, who will be the anchor for West Virginia. The score in now for Emily Holmes-Hackard, it's a 9.75. That's a very good score, especially given that she had a couple bobbles in that routine. Well, a pretty big bobble and then a couple little ones as well. Just getting a little pep talk from Zakira Muhammad. Actually was a coach last season at Eastern Michigan, right down the road here in Ann Arbor. Back handspring, layout, step out. An excellent save. She was a little bit off balance there, but squared herself on that beam and really minimized the deductions there. Pretty good position there on the leaps. Chloe actually has a career high of 9.9 on this event. And boy, would they love that right now. Well, so far she has a lovely routine going. And a pretty sizable hop forward on that landing. Should be about at least a 10th. But another hit routine, and that means they're going to be able to drop the 9.125, which they will be very, very happy about. So we'll just wait a moment here for that score, and it doesn't look like they will have an exhibition routine, so we'll be moving on to the second rotation in just a moment. And the score is in for Chloe Asper. It's a 9.825. So incredible way to finish out that rotation. So it's Michigan with a 49.35, right behind Auburn, who posted a 49.375, and West Virginia in third with a 48.975. So we're gonna take a quick break. The teams are gonna switch events, and we will be right back. We are back, getting ready here for rotation number 2. We have Auburn in the lead with a 49.375. Michigan in second with a 49.35. And then West Virginia currently in third with a 48.975. In this next rotation, Michigan will be on the uneven bars. The lineup is going to be Abby Brenner, Naomi Morrison, Abby Heiskell, Sierra Brooks, Natalie Wojcik, and then JC Vore.
Over on the beam for Auburn, we have Olivia Hollingsworth in the leadoff position, followed by Aria Brush, Cassie Stevens, Sophia Groth, Gabby McLaughlin, and Suni Lee.
And then over on floor for West Virginia, we will have Rachel Hornan, Kiana Lewis, Emily Holmes-Hackard, Abby Pearson, Kendra Combs, and Kiana Yancey in the anchor position. Looking back at that last rotation, some of the highlights, I think, for Auburn on bars definitely had to be the last 2 performances.
Yeah, Darian Goldborn with that 9.925 and Suni Lee 9.975. Those are massive scores, an incredible 1-2 punch at the end of that lineup, and I think that's very clear indication of why they are in first after the first event. And Auburn is incredible on bars, but they're even more incredible on beam. So really looking forward to seeing what they do here in the second rotation.
For Michigan in that first rotation, vault was one of their strongest events, obviously ranked number 1 in the nation on that event. Some of the highlights, Naomi Morrison and Gabby Wilson both posting 9.9s, but really impressive to see a lineup full of 10-0 start values, a lot of dynamic vaults, some pretty good stuff in that rotation. And then West Virginia on beam, they managed to get away without counting a fall, which is very impressive. And I would say the highlight in that rotation was the 9.875 from Abby Pearson in that second spot. So we are just seconds away from the start of the second rotation. Abby Brenner, the senior, will be leading things off for Michigan. We talked to her right before the meet. She said she's definitely feeling the emotions, and of course, you know, she's been such a huge part of this Michigan program and really a leader for this team. She's a captain for the second year in a row, and really just a great person in the gym, out of the gym, on the competition floor. It's just a great energy for this team.
And we are underway here. We have Olivia Hollingsworth for Auburn on beam.
And then Rachel Hornan, about to get started on floor. She was getting ready to, just waiting on her music. And a really nice straddled Jaeger, connected directly down to the low bar and overshoot, very nicely done. Great job hitting that handstand. Just gearing up now for the dismount. Double layout. Oh, and so close to a stuck landing. Did take a small step, but she's pumped about it, as she should be.
And for Auburn on beam, Olivia's had some small little bobbles on nearly every skill that she's done. Her series probably the most significant wobble, but she was able to hang on to it, recenter herself. She's been a pretty consistent leadoff for this team as she goes for the dismount, side aerial, layout fold. Just a tiny little hop on that landing. But she was able to stay on, which is what we love to see.
Rachel Hornan on floor opened with a really nice double pike. Showed pretty good control on that landing. Second pass, 1.5, punch front, a little bit under rotated. You see she took that step back. You want to step in the direction that you're tumbling. So she was tumbling forward on that element. So you would ideally want to see her take a step forward rather than backward, because that's a sign of under rotation.
Next up, we have Naomi Morrison on bars, following the 9.875 from Abby Brenner.
Oh, and I love how she keeps her legs glued together on that Ginger release move. Not many gymnasts do it like that. And, that is the expectation. You are supposed to keep your legs glued together on a skill like that, but you just don't see it that often. A lot of gymnasts have a little bit of a form break when they're catching that bar, but not Naomi. She's fantastic on this event. Double layout. Oh, and she was so close to getting that stuck landing. Just a tiny bit of movement on that dismount. But I think that's going to be a very big score.
Now on beam, we have Aria Brush. She has a career high of 9.925 on this event.
Actually did that last weekend. She posted that on bars and beam, so she's got to be feeling pretty good coming into this meet. Front aerial, the split jump, very secure on that. Did a pretty good job of hitting that 180-degree split. The judges are very, very nitpicky about those things. And solid on the series. The score in for Naomi Morrison on bars a 9.825. And that will bring up Abbey High School, the senior.
And on beam, Aria repeated her leap series. She was supposed to connect it and missed it, and obviously had to go back and repeat it, but
very important for her start value that she repeated that element. Abbey High School on bars caught a little bit close on that Jaeger. You see the arms were bent when she caught, but a beautiful pack salto. Really impressive to see that she can continue with the routine and not have that break the rhythm of the routine. Giant full into the double tuck. And gets a stuck landing. Really just a beautiful gymnast. Really has beautiful form and execution. Doesn't give away any of the little deductions. She doesn't have any built-in deductions. So the only mistake really in that routine was just the catch on the Jaeger when she caught a little bit too close to that bar.
Something that I love about Abbey on bars is her pirouettes. She finishes them right on top of the bar. That's a really, really difficult thing to do, and she does it so beautifully. So that'll be a big score.
Over on floor for West Virginia, we have Kiana Lewis. Lewis has a career high on this event of 9.9. Love that opening pass. The Rudy, the punch layout step out. The score in for Abbey High School is a 9.85, and that brings up Sierra Brooks. She opened with a piked Jaeger, very nicely done. Hits that handstand on the low bar. The judges are really, really picky about those handstand positions, but she's doing a beautiful job. Really difficult dismount, full twisting double layout, gets the stuck landing. She is so good at that dismount and getting that stuck landing. It's like time after time she either sticks it or she's pretty dang close to sticking it. So that is definitely going to be, so far, I would say, the highest scoring routine in Michigan's bar lineup. As we get a look at Cassie Stevens on the beam.
She had a pretty significant wobble on her series, but other than that, she has a nice routine going.
And check out that skill. That's actually named after her. She was a little bit off on that, but it's different. It's nice to see something different. And she does it, of course, right into that wolf turn. I'd like to see her get down a little bit lower, a little bit deeper into that wolf position. Just the dismount left. And beautiful stuck landing. Great way to cap off that routine.
And that's following the 9.875 from Aria Brush, so Auburn is looking phenomenal on beam.
And here we go with Natalie Wojcik, the senior. Huge delta. That's a crowd favorite.
Incredible handstand there. She had that right on top of the bar. Just the dismount.
And a stuck landing. Absolutely beautiful.
This crowd is on their feet.
So Natalie has perfect 10s on the vault and the beam. Bars is one of the events where she has done several routines that you could argue are very much capable of getting that perfect 10. Hasn't got it yet. We'll see what the judges do. She's following the 9925 from Sierra Brooks, so she's definitely in a position here to get a pretty big score. Score in for Kiana Lewis on floor. It's a 9.825. Turning it over to Emily Holmes-Hackard. Love that opening tumbling pass. Similar to the one we just saw from her teammate, Rudy, but she does a punch layout, keeps her legs together, and then goes into a double stag jump.
In the anchor position, we have freshman JC Vore, and she's somebody that Coach Bev Clockey expects to really come on strong as she finishes up her freshman season and has a great bar routine going here. Career high of a 9.925. And another stuck landing. She's been getting pretty good with sticking that dismount. As we're getting a look on beam at Sophia Groth, the freshman. She has just been stellar on this event all season long. Has a career high of 9.95. Somewhat of a consistency queen. If you need a reminder of how good she is on this event, she's only gone below 9.9 once and has gone 9.95 4 times. So this is definitely her specialty, I'd say. Dismounts with the side aerial layout full and gets the stuck landing. This should be another pretty big score, I'd say. She's coming up after the 9.85 for Cassie Stevens. Scores in. JC Vore on bars, a 9.9. And now we're going to have an exhibition routine from Nicoletta Koulos. She has been coming back from an injury, so wasn't really in lineups the beginning half of the season. We're now starting to see her take on some of these exhibition roles. And that's good because it kind of keeps her moving. It keeps her, in the competition mindset. And of course, it doesn't count towards Michigan's team score, but it's good for her just to get out there. And if they do need her to step in, she'll be hopefully ready to go because she's had a little bit of experience out there this season after that injury, competing in a really nice exhibition routine there. Yeah, bars in particular, I would say, is one of her strongest events. Definitely adds to the depth that Michigan has on that event.
Score in for Sophia Groth on beam, a 9.95. So I mentioned that she has 4 of those this season. Make that 5. The score on floor for Emily Holmes-Hackard is a 9.85. Now, Abby Pearson. Opens with a beautiful double layout, a little bit short on that landing. The chest was down a tiny bit and kind of took a step forward. You want to see her take a step back to really show control on that landing.
For Auburn on beam, we have Gabby McLaughlin.
Punch front full. Very nicely done.
She's off on her series, but is back up. Wants to finish this routine strong. Luckily, Auburn has looked incredible on this event so far that hopefully with just SUNY Lee to go, they'll be able to drop this score, keep themselves in the competition.
The score for Nicoletta Kulos in the exhibition spot for Michigan was a 9.825. So definitely something that is, potentially lineup worthy, if not this season if they needed her to be, but definitely in the future for Michigan, I'd say. And McLaughlin dismounts with a gainer pike off the end of the beam. Good finish, but definitely a routine that Auburn is going to want to drop if they want to keep pace with Michigan here.
Well, it doesn't hurt to have Suni Lee as your anchor.
If there's anybody that's going to follow a fall, you would want it to be Suni Lee, I bet. Absolutely. We've talked about Suni and the impact she's had on not even just the sport, but particularly college gymnastics. She's the first Olympic all-around champion to ever do college gymnastics, and that, of course, has brought a lot of interest all around the nation. We like to call it the Suni Lee effect. And we noticed that every meet that Auburn has competed in on the road, those teams either have a sellout crowd or they break an attendance record. So Suni is definitely kind of bringing some interest from the outside world to gymnastics, and really you can't complain about that. This is Kendra Combs on floor. Loved that opening tumbling pass, the front tuck through to double pike.
Nearly stuck it.
Yeah, she's really going for the 2 feet stick. You don't have to do that in college gymnastics. That's a requirement in the elite world where you have to stick your passes with 2 feet. But in college, you're allowed to take the step back. You have the luxury of doing that. But she's like, I'm good. I'll just stick it with 2 feet. No need.
Okay, now Suni Lee here on beam. Following the 9.275 from Gabby McLaughlin. Opens it up with a wolf turn. There's a lot of people in the gymnastics world that don't like those wolf turns, but you do it as well as Suni does. I feel like it's an exception. You're allowed.
Suni's allowed to do the wolf turn. Front aerial.
Oh, and she was supposed to connect that to the back handspring, which she needs to get that connection. So curious to see what she's going to do here.
But gorgeous extension on the leaps. And a great dismount, back handspring, gainer layout full.
So I'll be curious to see, unless I missed something, which I don't think I did. She didn't have her
front to back, tumbling to back
connection. Yeah.
We'll see what the judges come up with for that routine for Suni Lee.
She's ranked #1 in the nation on that event, so his career high of a perfect 10, which she's done twice. Not going to be quite a 10 today, but and then of course Auburn will have one final performer in the exhibition position.
And then on floor for West Virginia in the anchor spot is Kiana Yancey. Has a career high in this event of a 9.9. Really nice, explosive double pike to open up the routine.
This is an event that West Virginia is great on. They're actually ranked 16th in the nation. And you really see why. They have incredibly powerful tumbling.
And pretty good at controlling the landings, which of course in college gymnastics, it's all about perfection. We mentioned that, sometimes gymnasts like to go for the more difficult routines because they can, but it really is all about doing what you can do to the best of your ability in college gymnastics, you can get the best score possible for your team. Final tumbling pass, double tuck, great finish.
And the score is in for SUNY Lee. It's a 9.625, so they certainly did hit her for that connection, as they should. It's a requirement. And I kind of feel bad. I kind of feel like we jinxed Auburn by saying that, SUNY Lee going up following a fall. She's, like we said, #1 in the nation on that event, so definitely high expectations for her to go up and get typically at least a 9.9 plus score. But everybody makes mistakes. It's okay. Auburn will bounce back from this.
And it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. They're going to drop the 9.275, which is definitely, a lot worse than the 9.625 from SUNY. So yes, it's not exactly what they wanted, but it could have been worse.
And I believe they're going to have an exhibition routine where the score's in for SUNY Lee, so I'm not quite sure what we're waiting on. Looks like it'll be Piper Smith.
We can give you the event totals for this rotation for Michigan. It was a 49.475. Of course, highlighted by really the last three routines pretty strong. Sierra Brooks 9.925, Natalie Wojcik 9.925 as well, and then the freshman JC Vora coming in big with a 9.9 in that anchor spot.
And she's somebody, I feel like we didn't really get to mention it. She gets thrown into the bar lineup on occasion. She wasn't in the beginning of the season on that event, so
her first time out, I believe, ever she got a 9.9.
Yeah, so she's really stepped it up, and love to see her anchoring that lineup. And we have Piper Smith up on the beam in the exhibition. I know we're in the middle of reading the scores here, but
we'll go back to that in just a moment. I love the mount she did. I know it's not a super difficult mount, but a front walkover is just very aesthetically pleasing. Big handspring layout, step out. Looked like she was a little bit off. You see she had a little bit of a lean, but kept it together and keeps the routine moving. That's the mark of a strong competitor. And a stuck landing to finish that routine. Really strong routine for the exhibition spot, so definitely something for Auburn to feel good about, to know that they have some backup routines kind of in their arsenal. So before we head for the third rotation, we'll give you the scores. So I mentioned the 49.475 for Michigan. It was a 49.05 for Auburn on the beam, and then West Virginia on floor, we mentioned they're ranked 16th in the nation on that. They put up a 49.3, so
incredible.
A very, very solid team score on that event. So the standings after two, Michigan 98.825 to Auburn's 98.425. West Virginia not too far behind with a 98.275, so it is a good one here in Chrysler Center. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with the third rotation. We are back and ready for rotation 3 here in Chrysler Center. At the halfway point, Michigan is leading with a 98.825 to Auburn's 98.425. They're leading by 0.4. West Virginia trailing Auburn by just a tenth and a half. So
A close one.
yes, very close, very much a close one as we get ready for the third rotation. Michigan will be over on beam. The lineup is going to be Naomi Morrison, Gabby Wilson, JC Vore, Sierra Brooks, Abby Heiskell, and then Natalie Boychak in the anchor spot.
For Auburn on floor, we have Sarah Hubbard, Drew Watson, Cassie Stevens, Sophia Groth, Suni Lee, and Darian Goborn.
And then on vault for West Virginia, we have Kiana Yancey, Brooke Albin, Kiana Lewis, Rachel Hornan, Abby Pearson, and then Jillian Fletcher. Michigan going to an event where this is their lowest ranked event. And of course, they are a pretty even-keeled team. Really, I wouldn't say they have a weak spot, but if you were to pick one for this team, I'd say it probably would be the balance beam.
They're ranked 8th nationally on this event, so like you said, definitely not a weakness.
But definitely going to be looking for a big score here. Season high on this event is a 49.5, so they'd like to do something similar to that here today.
Getting underway here with Naomi Morrison. And that was a great Yurchenko full from Kiana Yancey.
And Sarah Hubbard over on the floor opened it up with a full twist and double back. Very nicely done. Small balance check for Naomi on beam. Just a tiny one.
Pretty big break there. Naomi's really working on proving her confidence on this event. She's been the leadoff all season. It's important that she hits a good one to get Michigan started on the right foot.
And a stuck Yurchenko full for Brooke Albin on vault for West Virginia.
And a stuck dismount from Naomi Morrison on beam. So
Sticks all around. For West Virginia on the vaults, remember your Yurchenko fulls don't have a 10-0 start value, so we saw a lot of 10-0 vaults, honestly all 10-0 vaults from Michigan. We're going to see a lot of 9.95 start values for West Virginia, so the scores are going to be a little bit lower for that reason. But the score in for Brooke Albin, 9.8.
and now we wait.
There's either everything going on at once or nothing going on at all.
Of course.
Typical try meet. Up next on vault for West Virginia will be Kiana Lewis. And a really nice Yurchenko full, great position in the air, really flared out on that.
A little bit of a deep squat, I would say, in the landing, but she was able to hold on to it and get that stick.
And off to the side as well. That'll be a slight deduction if the judges see it. But I think they got glue on their feet tonight.
Absolutely. They're doing exactly what they need to do to keep themselves in this competition, keep pace with Auburn.
We're waiting on the judges here. It'll be Drew Watson up next on floor for Auburn. And Gabby Wilson up on the beam for Michigan. Drew Watson, the super senior for Auburn. And she's going to open with a huge E-tumbling pass. It's a double Arabian. Pretty significant hop forward there. Lacked a little bit of control, but... And Gabby Wilson really fighting to save that series. Has a very pretty series, really floaty, I like to call it, but yeah, she gets a lot of height on it, but it makes it a little bit harder to control. So Michigan really just wants to kind of settle in here. She's following a 9.825 for Naomi Morrison, which is a good score in the leadoff spot, but doesn't want to get too excited or too nervous. Just kind of stay neutral right now when you're on the beam. And so far, aside from that wobble, she has been looking extremely confident. She actually has a career high of 9.975 on this event, so very much capable of big things. As we get a look at a Yurchenko 1.5 for West Virginia. The only one we're going to see in their lineup, but that is the 10-0 start value. That was Rachel Hornan.
It was Abby Pearson.
My apologies.
She's following Rachel Hornan with a 9.825. So, again, West Virginia is doing what they need to do on that event.
And the score in for Abby Pearson for her vault, 9.675.
She had a lot of power on that.
Yeah, a little bit too much momentum on that, and took a pretty significant leap forward on that landing.
And she's someone who sometimes she does the Yurchenko full, and it's a super powerful Yurchenko full. So it's kind of just a matter of risk reward. Do you do what's more consistent? Do you go for the more difficult vaults and hope that the reward pays off?
But an incredible vault nonetheless. And Jillian Fletcher will cap things off for West Virginia. A really unique vault. Yurchenko, she does a full twist onto the table and then a back pike off. That's actually also a 10-0 start value. Just a vault you don't see very often, but she did a pretty good job on it. It's difficult with a vault like that to get the block off the table and to really get the height that you need, because you're not going just straight back onto the table. You're doing that full twist. So it kind of complicates things a little bit, but she did a pretty good job with that.
Now on beam we have JC Vore. She has a career high of 9.925 on this event. And she's somebody that I personally have really been wanting to see in this lineup. She's very steady. Slight wobble there on her series. But as a freshman, she has come on to so strong and really stepped up in areas that Michigan has needed it. Front toss. She looks confident.
Cassie Stevens going right now on the floor for Auburn, following the 9.85 from Drew Watson. And I love those leaps for JC on beam. Really does a great job of extending into that 180-degree split.
She has a nice routine going, a few small little bobbles, but this is one that Michigan is going to be very pleased with.
She was a little bit off balance on that landing, but held that stick.
She says to the judges, "You didn't see that."
That did not happen. What are you talking about?
A great routine.
But the best way to cap off a routine for sure is with that stuck landing. It's going to be the last thing that the judges see and the first thing they remember. So great job for JC as Cassie Stevens goes for a double tuck. Really low on that landing. Had the chest way down. Just lacked the height that she needed to really rotate that all the way around. Auburn currently has a 9.85 from Drew Watson, and I believe it was a 9.675 from Hubbard in the leadoff spot. So definitely with these next couple of routines coming up, want to get some big scores to keep up with Michigan. The score in on beam for Gabby Wilson was a 9.75. So not disastrous, but
They're a little bit shaky.
Yeah.
See a little bit of the nerves coming through. And like we said off the top, this is an event for Michigan that if they show any area of weakness, it would be on this event. They're really looking to start building their confidence, building on those scores, so that way heading into postseason, they don't have anything to worry about.
yeah, because it came down to beam for Michigan at NCAA's last year, and
It did. And they did what they needed to do.
yes, absolutely. They did have a couple wobbles in that rotation, but the last half of the lineup, which is the last half of the lineup that we're going to see here today, they are just stellar on this event. Sierra Brooks up now. She actually has a career high of a perfect 10 on this event from her level 10 career. Hasn't achieved it in college yet. Maybe today will be the day, but I don't want to jinx her. Let me knock on wood.
And now we have Sophia Groth.
And Sierra nails her triple series. So difficult to tumble down the length of the beam like that, but she makes it look easy. She's so consistent on this event.
And so confident. That's what I love about Sierra. It's on her tumbling elements, on her dance, on her leaps, everything. She has this aura to her of, I am not coming off
Yeah,
this beam.
and we talked to her earlier in the season about her beam routine from NCAA's last year. She was really the one that kind of got everything back on track for Michigan for them to come back and win that national title. And she said that she was going up there and she's like, I'm not going to come off. I'm just not going to do it. And she, of course, had a career high with that routine. And she goes for the dismount, double tuck, really difficult dismount. And a small hop forward on the landing, but other than that, the routine was stellar as we look at the last pass on floor for Sophia Groth. Front handspring, Rudy. Excellent.
That was a solid routine.
We talked about, how Suni Lee is getting a lot of the hype for Auburn, but she's also a really talented freshman and is doing really big things. And can definitely be expected to continue to do big things going forward.
Yeah, she has a career high of 9.975 on this event, so is definitely capable of perfection or pretty close to it.
The score on beam for Sierra Brooks is in a 9.95, so definitely the big score that Michigan wanted to set up Abbey High School for her final beam routine in Chrysler. And we mentioned that amazing beam rotation at NCAA's last year, and it actually came down to Abby. She needed a 9.85, posted a casual 9.925 to clinch it for Michigan. We'll never forget that moment.
I'm sure she won't either.
And really a good indication of how Abby's going to do is how she hits this right here. Cat leap to side aerial. A little tentative on that. You saw the chest come down. That's going to be a pretty sizable deduction. Split leap, slip leap. Split leap, split leap. It's kind of a tongue twister. And acro series, back handspring, layout, step out. Rock solid on that as Suni Lee takes to the floor. And 1.5 twist dismount for Abbey High School. Just a hop forward on that landing. And Suni Lee with a double layout. Really difficult tumbling pass to open her routine, but just a little bit short on that landing.
Yeah, had her chest down, had to take a step forward.
But, it's been a long year, a long last couple of months for her, coming off the Olympics and going to do Dancing with the Stars and then coming right to college and contributing on all 4 events for her team. It's really impressive to see how she's handled it all and managed her time.
But it can be physically and mentally draining.
Yeah,
I mean, head into the postseason.
Absolutely. Truly, I give her so much props for doing what she's doing. Second pass, 1.5 twist to front full. beautiful on that pass. Not quite the routine that she was wanting, but she's beautiful nonetheless. I'll take anything that Suni Lee does any day of the week. She's beautiful to watch. As we get ready for the Queen of the Beam, Miss Natalie Wojcik, the senior. She's been perfect a few times, just a few. But definitely a textbook example of what you want to see on the balance beam. She's got beautiful lines, great flexibility, and the extension. It's her legs all the way through to her toes. She really extends and has beautiful lines. Front aerial to beat jump, very solid on that. And she's someone who came in as a freshman and really made a strong mark right from the get-go. Actually is an NCAA champion on this event from her freshman year. And you can see why. She's just so beautiful and so confident up there. You can see it in her face, how just relaxed she is. She goes for her triple series. Solid. And you know, Natalie Wojcik, she goes out there and does the same routine week after week. Definitely not an easy feat. But she definitely makes it look easy. And this has been a beautiful routine. Just wants to stick this landing. And if she does it, I think it's going to be a big score. 1.5 twist. Oh, and just a tiny hop forward on the landing, but what a beam routine. The crowd loves it here. And Michigan's going to be happy with that. They're right now looking to drop the 9.75 from Abbey High School or from Gabby Wilson. They both have a 9.75. But to drop one of those and replace it with what should be a 9.9 plus score for Natalie Wojcik, they're going to be happy with that one. Still waiting on the score for Suni Lee. Actually, it looks like it just came in. It's 9.775. And that brings us to Darian Goborn, the senior for Auburn. And she is a lot of fun on this event. Yeah, get ready for a show, because Darian Goborn's got one for you. She's actually coming off a perfect 10 last week on this event. And she knows how to entertain a crowd. Check out this opening tumbling pass. It's an open double back. She needs to just throw the twist in that pass. She's certainly capable of it. Nicoletta Kulos going up for Michigan on beam in the exhibition spot, following a 9.95 from Natalie Wojcik. You'll hear some Missy Elliott in this routine for Darian, and it's actually really cool. Missy Elliott saw her perfect 10 routine from last week and retweeted it. Love that for her. Front handspring, front roll, punch front, right into the pose. Love it. And that's a clever way to disguise any potential landing deductions.
Absolutely.
Final tumbling pass. It's a double pike and nails it. Oh, yeah. Blows a little kiss to the crowd. That's going to be a big score. And, you know, it's when you're on the road, it's not often that you get the crowd going like this when it's not your home team. So I love the crown as she walks off the floor. As you should, girlfriend, as you should. Nicoletta, from what I've seen, has a really solid beam routine going here in the exhibition spot. She's never competed in the lineup for Michigan, but definitely has the potential to in the future. She dismounts with a 1.5 twist, just a small hop forward on that landing, but really a stylish gymnast on that event, and you know, someone that we'll look to in the future to hopefully fill some of the lineup spots that are going to be opening up for Michigan on that event.
The score for Natalie Wojcik on beam, a 9.95. Great way to finish out that rotation. Michigan's team total on that event, a 49.325. For Auburn on floor, a 49.225. And for West Virginia on vol, a 48.925.
Yep, Darian Goborn scored a 9.95 for that routine in the anchor spot.
And I believe this is Piper Smith in the exhibition position for Auburn on floor.
Open with the front handspring, front double full. It's an E value element. A little bit of a lack of control on the landing and a little bit of form in the air as well.
Very solid last pass. And a great routine overall.
So we are going to take a quick break. It's Michigan in the driver's seat as we get ready for rotation 4. We are back. We've got 3 in the books, 1 to go in the books, 1 to go here in the Chrysler Center. It is Michigan leading with a 148.2, Auburn with a 147.650, and West Virginia with a 147.2. And it is an exciting environment in here and a record-breaking crowd, Brittany.
Yeah, so this is the first sellout crowd in Michigan gymnastics history. 12,707 people in the stands here today to send these seniors off the way that they deserve. Super, super exciting. Lots of energy in here.
So in the final rotation, it will be Michigan on floor. Senior Abby Brenner will lead things off, followed by senior Abby High School. Senior Natalie Wojcik will be third, so we're going to send the seniors out with the first 3 routines and then wrap it up with Naomi Morrison, Sierra Brooks, and Gabby Wilson.
For Auburn on vault, we have Sophia Groth, Sarah Hubbard, Cassie Stevens, Darian Goborn, Drew Watson, and Suni Lee.
And then on bars for West Virginia, it will be Rachel Hornan, Kiana Yancey, Kendra Combs, Brooke Albin, Esperanza Abarca, and Abby Pearson in the anchor spot. And for Michigan, the seniors. Of course, we mentioned the first 3 routines. This is definitely kind of the point in the evening where the emotions are going to be running high, of course, with it being senior night. Really, I think the seniors right now are just trying to stay focused and not let the emotions get the best of them, but also trying to simultaneously soak in every last moment of their final meet together here in Chrysler. And this class will go down in history as one of the greatest of all time in Michigan's program history. Truly a very, very special class.
Yeah, part of course, that first ever national championship winning team. Big Ten champions their freshman year in 2019. They helped to break the vault, bars, beam, and tie the floor record. Helped the Wolverines to 6 scores over 198. 101 combined event titles between the 3. Just a absolutely stellar class.
And that senior class really a big reason why Michigan has been so successful in the last couple of seasons.
Yeah,
very, very special group of ladies.
We've been following Abby High School, Abby Brenner, and Natalie Wojcik's gymnastics career since they committed to Michigan. So roughly 8 years ago, and we knew even then that they were going to be a special class, that they were going to be able to do big things for Michigan, and I think they've certainly lived up to that.
Absolutely. And they do have the option to come back if they choose. That's something that the NCAA has granted as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Any gymnast who competed during the 2020 season when everything kind of got shut down. They do have the option to come back if they so choose, but for now, we celebrate these seniors and all they've done for this Michigan program. And what a special way to send them out with this record-breaking crowd as we get going with Auburn on the vaults. This is Sophia Groth.
Huge Yurchenko full, chest down just a little bit, but she is really, really good at finding that landing. Really all season long, she does vaults very similar to that.
And, we've talked about the start value differences. Auburn is going to have several 10-0 start values in their lineup, that only a 9.95 start value, but when you do it as good as that, you really can't complain. As Abby Brenner gets going on the floor with her rock-inspired floor routine. Opens with a tucked full in.
Sometimes struggles to get her chest up on that, but looks pretty good today.
And she is such a performer. Michigan in their gym, they do something to kind of get themselves used to performing in front of a crowd.
And looking up from the floor, making eye contact.
Yes.
They really practice that every week.
It's fantastic that Abby performs in the gym just like she does when she's out here on the competition floor. It really kind of draws you in and really is so much fun to watch.
Sarah Hubbard there for Auburn with a Yurchenko 1.5, the first of a few that we'll see for Auburn. Just a small hop forward.
And this has been an excellent routine for Abby. One more tumbling pass, double pike, and nails it. And I love this ending.
And this crowd is on their feet.
A heart from Abby Brenner as she finishes up her career here at home. And up next for Auburn will be Cassie Stevens. Debuted the Yurchenko 1.5 for the first time last season and absolutely nails that landing there. Actually scored a 9.975 last week, so quite the way to make your debut with your upgraded vault, Yurchenko 1.5. And that right there is going to be another big score coming off of the 9.875 from Sarah Hubbard before her.
West Virginia over on bars looking strong as well. They have a 9.775 from Hornog and a 9.875 from Kiana Yancey.
Score for Cassie Stevens, a 9.9 for that stuck vault. As we take a look at Abbey High School on the floor.
She has a career high of a 9.975 on this event. She opens with Arabian double front.
And I saw her nail one of these in the warm-ups.
Pretty solid. Auburn's looking pretty good on vaults as well.
1.5 twist to punch front. Just like on all the other events, really clean form in the air and doesn't really give the judges much to take away in terms of her form. Getting ready to go on vaults for Auburn will be Drew Watson, the super senior.
Another one of those Yurchenko 1.5s.
As Abbey High School ends with a double pike, a little bit bouncy on that landing, but still going to be a big number.
And a beautiful vault for Drew Watson. A tiny bit of movement on that, but a near stick.
I love how excited she looks. Honestly, every time she vaults, no matter what the landing looks like, she always is super excited. I love the energy. I appreciate that.
And catching up on some scores here for Auburn on vault. Sophia Groth led off with a perfect Yurchenko full, a 9.95. Sarah Hubbard with a 9.875, Cassie Stevens a 9.9, Darian Goborn 9.85. So they are having an incredible rotation.
And West Virginia on bars doing quite well themselves over there. Rachel Hornan a 9.975, Yancey 9.875, and Kendrick Holmes with a 9.85. You just got to look there at Brooke Albin with another hit routine. So good gymnastics all around here.
As we get ready here for Natalie Wojcik, the final senior we're going to see tonight. And I'm curious to see what she does for her first pass. She's been struggling a little bit with the front double full. As Suni Lee goes on ball, Yurchenko half on, laid out half off, it's called a Lopez. A pretty good landing on that as Natalie Wojcik nails her opening tumbling pass, the front double fold, punch front in the pike position. Yeah, so that was the pass that originally it was her middle pass. They moved it to the first. A little bit more consistent for her. She has more energy, and
I think it's working for her.
is able to go big. Really controlled landing on that double pike.
This is Esperanza Abarca on bars for West Virginia. Gets a stuck landing over there on bars. Natalie Wojcik going for her last pass. Front handspring, Rudy to straddle jump. Beautiful. What a routine for the senior. She hugs her teammates. A special group of young ladies. And they're not done yet. It's maybe their final time competing in Chrysler, but have a very busy month ahead with the Big Ten Championships next Saturday. Yeah, actually just won the regular season Big Ten title and looking to get some double reigns, some twin reigns.
Absolutely.
With a title next weekend in Columbus, Ohio is what they're hoping for.
And the Big Ten Championships, that score can count towards the NQS as an away score. So another opportunity for Michigan to raise that score and hopefully move up in the rankings.
And check out the score for Natalie Wojcik for that floor routine, a 9.975. But I believe that's a new career high.
It is.
Surpassing her previous 9.95 on that event. As we look at Naomi Morrison, beautiful full twisting double back. Just as I mentioned on bars, keeps her legs pasted together on that. Few can do it that well.
And you know, I love this music from Naomi. It's not your typical college floor routine. It's kind of a slower tempo, almost a jazz feel to it. She hits those beats that you don't even know are there. She's really nuanced in this choreography. And she just plays to the crowd too. She kind of has this aloof charm, very charismatic. And
I like the adjectives here, Brittany.
yeah, I'm really pulling out all the stops for Naomi Morrison here.
A good routine going. Just this last tumbling pass. Finishes with a double tuck.
Really milking it here. Love it. And that's going to be a huge score. Don't know if it'll quite go as high as Natalie Wojcik's, but
Yeah, I think if you're being really, really nitpicky, she could have been a little bit more controlled on that last pass, but that's super nitpicky. I also think there was a little bit of a deduction on that second tumbling pass, kind of a step across the body. Nothing too big. Should still get a very good score nonetheless. And now Michigan is the only competitors. We have Sierra Brooks and Gabby Wilson still to come, and I think possibly an exhibition routine as well. So all eyes are on Michigan. And 9.925 from Naomi Morrison. So a big score indeed. She did deliver. And Sierra Brooks is very much capable of bringing in another huge score here. She scored 9.975 on this event 2 times this season. Actually, she's tied for second in the nation with her teammate Gabby Wilson, and of course Olympic floor champion Jade Carey and Utah great Cindy Solosky all tied for second. It's a pretty great group, and it's tumbling like that. Super sky high controlled landing, and Sierra sometimes does struggle to control her landing just because she does have so much power, but not today. Second tumbling pass, front tuck, through to double back. A little bit of a bounce back on that landing. I may have jinxed her. You know, we're doing that a lot, Brittany. One more tumbling pass to see Abby Brenner there in the corner hyping her up for this. And something Sierra likes to do is stick with 2 feet. She does it quite often. Goes for the step back there. The controlled step back, very nicely done. Finishes it with a mic drop and a routine that I say is going to get a pretty big score. Yeah, Michigan is actually posting some really, really nice scores right now on floor. We have a 9.925 for Abby Brenner, Abbey High School in 9.9. We mentioned Natalie Wojcik's 9.975, the 9.925 from Naomi Morrison. So depending on what either Sierra Brooks and also Gabby Wilson in the anchor position can get, this is going to be a huge, huge floor score. Michigan's program record on floor is a 49.7, so we'll be on program record alert as we head for the final routine here with Gabby Wilson. And if there's anyone that knows how to bring down the house, I would say it's Gabby Wilson. She's the perfect anchor for this team and is really going to cap off this competition strong, I'd say. And what's so impressive, in my opinion, about Gabby is she has really, really big, powerful tumbling like we're about to see, but she also goes big with the dance as well. And it's hard to, you're exerting so much energy on the tumbling. That was fantastic, full twist and double back. You exert so much energy on the tumbling, but then to have some energy left over for the dance as well is really, really special. She makes it look easy. Love that combination tumbling pass. Michigan currently at a 49.65 and looking to drop a 9.9. So we mentioned that program record, 49.7 for Michigan on floor. They're looking pretty good right now. One more pass to go for Gabby Wilson. And Gabby is very much capable of getting a big score on this event. Actually, only went below 9.95 once this season. Just go to show you how incredible she is. And has gone as high as a 10. She got a 10 earlier this season, and that is a big routine for Gabby Wilson. I don't know, what do you think? We'll see what the judges do. There was, in my opinion, not much wrong with that routine. She's so consistent time after time, does the same routine again and again. Just carbon copy performances. Yeah, it's like she copies and pastes week after week. Really, really incredible performance there. And it's a 10! And it's a 10! The second 10 of her career, and so well deserved. Absolutely incredible. This crowd is going nuts. Everybody's on their feet. You know, we don't see 10s in Chrysler that often. The last gymnast to score a 10 on floor for Michigan was Nicole Arts. What a way to finish. And Michigan's total here, 197.95.
Incredible.
And they posted a 49.750. So that will break their program record on floor by a half a tenth. And I'm not sure, we might have mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, but they are number one in the nation on this event. So, I mean, shouldn't be too surprised by that performance we just saw. And now this routine, it's a fun one. Nicoletta Koulos, incredible dancer. Oh, and just kind of mistimed the punch on that. She was somebody who we saw in the lineup a lot last season on this event. But as you mentioned earlier, Brittany kind of was dealing with an injury at the beginning of the season and has been more of a depth person for Michigan this season.
Yeah, only doing a 2-pass floor routine here today. She is capable of doing a more difficult routine with 3 passes, but just really trying to find what's most consistent for her and what she can go out there and be the most confident with. That's something that Michigan really prides themselves on, is having those difficult passes. Everybody opening with an E-tumbling pass of some sort. And a little bit short on that. But she's still fairly new to the exhibition spot this season. Has only competed a handful of times. There's another one under her belt. So the final scores here, Michigan out on top with a 197.95. Second is Auburn with a 197.175. West Virginia 1964.
And I don't think, it was a perfect day for any of these teams, but really, some good scores, especially for Michigan on senior night in front of a record crowd, ending it with a perfect 10 from Gabby Wilson, sending the seniors out so strong. Really was a fun competition out there today.
Yeah, and that 197.95 score is about on par with Michigan has been doing all season. So definitely some areas to improve, really for all 3 of these teams as they head into conference championships next week, next Saturday, and hopefully into postseason.
So looking ahead to what's next for these teams, we have conference championships next week, which of course is the final opportunity for these teams to get a road score to raise their NQS. Conference championships will be taking place next Saturday, and if you're in or near Ann Arbor, you can go support the Michigan Wolverines in Columbus, Ohio. Not too far of a drive and lots of good gymnastics, so something to consider if you're in or near the Ann Arbor area. And that does it for us here in Ann Arbor today on senior night. It's Michigan with a 197.95 to beat Auburn. For Brittany Bueller, I'm Ashley Bueller. Thank you for tuning in and have a great night.